Hi everyone, this is Robin, and I will be your instructor this semester in OLP 4407, 5507, Instructional Technologies in HRD. In the meantime, I do want to say how excited I am to be teaching this class. As you know from the previous video that you listened to in the Start Here First section, I love teaching this class. I love learning about technology, and I'm very excited to be working with all of you this semester. Now, I know some of you know a lot about technology, and that's great, and I encourage you to still challenge yourself this semester. So figure out what else it is that you want to know about technology, and I am happy to help you learn that. Some of you know very little about technology, and that's okay too, because you are going to get exposed to a lot of technology in this class. As I said, part of the point of this class is to expose you to a lot of technologies so that you can make an informed decision about this is something that will help me personally learn, or will help the people that I work with learn, or this is something that will not help me learn or the people that I work with learn, but you're going to have a reason for saying what you're saying. You'll have experience with the technology so that you can say this is why this will be helpful, or this is why in this circumstance this will not be helpful. So let us go ahead and get started with the last week this week for week 1. Well, actually, it's just, since it's week 1, it's just the this week for week 1. So let's see what we're doing this week. So as you know, week 1 tends to be sort of a let's get to know each other and get organized around the course, get oriented. And the same is true with this class. So the first thing that I have is an optional reading for you. There are, I think, 6, maybe 7 blog posts on PLNs, Professional Learning Networks. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, PLNs are going to be a big part of what we are creating this semester for ourselves. We're creating our own professional learning networks. So the sooner that you read about PLNs, the better it's going to be for you, right? You just want to find out what they are and get some information. So these blog posts are not actually due until week 3, but I posted them this week for 2 reasons. One, because you might as well start learning about it. And secondly, starting week 2, things are going to get kind of busy. And so I wanted you to be able to take advantage of a little bit slower of a week 1 to get some of this reading done. Now, as you know, there's no textbook in this class. We are going to be consuming a lot of information, but we're going to be consuming that information in non-textbook ways. So one of the ways we're consuming that information is through the blog posts of other people. All right, so that's all for learning activities. In terms of assignments, I do want you to post an introduction to the discussion board in Moodle. This is the only time, or maybe there might be one other time, where we're in Moodle in the discussion boards. But as I said in that previous video, most of what we're doing, most of our interacting is not going to be in Moodle. It's going to be through your blogs. So this is our only, or maybe one of 2 times that we're going to be in Moodle. But we are in Moodle this week. I'd like you to post introductions and respond to at least 3 of your classmates. So you are going to, as we move through the semester, you are going to be commenting on each other's blogs and reading each other's blogs, and it's just helpful to know who people are. So that's why I want to make sure that we did this in Moodle so that you could not only get to know who the people are that you're initially going to be looking at their blog posts, but as we move through the semester, as you start working with some other people's blog posts, you can look back and say, oh, okay, now I remember who that person is, and kind of what their profession is and what their family is and that sort of thing. So introductions. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do is go onto the internet and find a blog that talks about either technology and learning or technology tools that can be used for learning, just something related to technology and learning. And then I want you to read several blog posts from that blog. So you might find more than one blog. You might find 3 or 4 or 5 blogs before you find one that you think is really that interesting. But look for one that's interesting and read several posts from that blog. And then write down the URL for that interesting blog, because starting next week we are going to be creating a list. The whole class is going to collaborate on a list of blogs that we find that we think are interesting. And that's going to be a resource for all of us so that we can say, well, here's a blog post that someone in class already looked at and decided was interesting, so I want to go look at that one too. So that'll be a nice resource for us. So when you find one that's interesting, go ahead and make sure you save what the URL is for that blog. And then finally, I have opened up week 2, so you can start working on week 2 this week if you'd like. And the reason for that is because this week's pretty light in terms of responsibilities, and next week things start to get busy. So rather than just forcing you to be super busy next week, I thought I'd open it up so you could kind of manage your time in a way that makes sense for you. You know how busy your other classes are this week. You know how busy your work and your life is this week. So if you want to get a head start on week 2, why not? So that's why I went ahead and opened that up for you. So that is the plan for this week. Work on the week 1 stuff, and if you're interested, go ahead and get started on the week 2 assignments. Among other things, you're going to be setting up your blog next week, and so that might be a fun one to get started on a little bit sooner rather than later. If you have questions on any of this, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, I will see you online in the introductions.